The NASCAR Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBet. WynnBet is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBet has what you need to win. Bet $100 and get $100 at WynnBet.com or download the WynnBet app and start winning today. State restrictions apply.
Driver! Start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Live audio from the 4 crew chiefs that are now suspended in Hendrick Motorsports. Now they're on suspension, so they can't talk racing things. It is the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He is Cody. I have just joined. Well, I've been the president of the Cory Lajoie fan club for years. Zeeb, I'm Rod Villagomez. Cody, nice hat first and foremost. Let's address the elephant in the room, shall we?
Thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see my beautiful number 7 hat. Cory Lajoie just came in this week. I am the president of the Cory Lajoie fan betting club. I know everybody and their brother is on him this week anymore, but I'd like to remind you I've been betting him at super speedways for almost 2 years now and had him at 250 to 1 when he almost won Atlanta last year. So don't forget that.
Cody's been on LaJoie. Before being on LaJoie was cool. So, and we know it too, because we could go back through and document all the times you brought him up at Super Speedway Racing. So definitely has the receipts to back it up. So definitely love that. I love the hat again. It's a number 7 hat. This is, if there's ever a glowing endorsement to go watch a YouTube video now, this is it, because you're missing out on Cody's hat if you're not watching us on YouTube as well.
Yeah, I don't offer much to the YouTube crowd, so I figured I'd spice it up a little bit.
Brother, you see my walls. I got nothing for the YouTube crowd. Like, I tell you to like and subscribe so you can stare at my white wall and my one plant. So much so that my wife goes, "Oh, you can see the plant."
Wow, your wife's watched the YouTube channel. That's cool.
Hey, listen, I don't know what I'm doing between the hours of whatever I'm at, right? You want to talk about knowing where your husband's at? This is it right here.
I was doing the same thing. I was checking in on Rod earlier. He said he was running late on the back road. I had to make sure for myself, so checked in over there, and there he was. So I knew he wasn't lying to me.
Yeah, make sure you go check out the back road in between media. Seth and the gang over there. We had Mark from Skybox joining us on that show. Great discussion about betting, DFS, all kinds of fun stuff. So please make sure to go check that out if you're watching on YouTube. If not, still, when you're done listening to this, go check it out on YouTube. So much fun. All right, Cody, this is the Cup Series betting episode of the show. We are in Atlanta. It is the Ambetter Health 400 in Atlanta. Obviously, we'll set up the race here in a second. I know you've got news and notes, Cody, but I just got to say that I opened up Twitter just a second ago. Kevin Harvick was trending. I click on this and see the gorgeous 29 car. Isn't it amazing? The 29 car he's going to run in North Wilkesboro in that All-Star race just melts my heart. I mean, I wasn't even a Harvick fan back in the days, but like, this is awesome.
Yeah, no, 100%. Same here. I didn't care for the guy back then at that time, but yeah, so it's awesome. Obviously, this is his last season, and last season he said he will not come back. He's not going to run part-time. He's not going to enter some Daytona 500s. This is it. This is his final season. So they're going to the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro. It's already a throwback to classic NASCAR, all of that. He's obviously in the 4 car now, but he spent the first half of his career in the 29 car, with the good wrench and everything else on it. That white car, so beautiful. So that's a throwback. That's what they're doing for the throwback. It's going to be the 29 car. Since that's an exhibition race, you can kind of get away with the number change without all the jazz that goes behind having to have your car number with your charter and all that. I know Kyle Busch has done it before. They ran the 75 for 75th anniversary of M&M's at the All-Star race a few years back. I think there's been a few other number ones. None come to mind right away. But, yeah, so this is going to be super cool. And it's a flashback to his very first career NASCAR Series Cup start. Obviously, you go back to 2001. He had plans to run the 30 car that season. Dale Earnhardt loses his life in Daytona. Kevin Harvick's thrust into that ride. Instead of keeping the iconic black number 3 car, that was Dale's car. You don't want to keep that out there. They reversed the paint scheme, made it white with the black letters, and changed the number to 29. And that's what Kevin Harvick drove for years after that. And so, yeah, this is a throwback. It's Busch Light will be the sponsor, but it's going to look like the good wrench on the side of it. Obviously, the numbers are slid forward. I saw a few people complaining about that because they can't get over it. It's not a real throwback if you slide the numbers forward. It's a throwback to previous NASCAR when they used to throw the numbers forward like that. So learn your history. But anyways, it's a super, super slick looking car. That's an awesome way to honor him, honor his career, honor his past, his history with how it all started and wrap it up 22 years later now.
Yeah, again, I'm a huge fan. I can't wait to watch that thing slide around the track. It's just going to be, I'm telling you right now, I am a fan. So thank you, NASCAR.
That weekend's going to be so much fun, Rod. There's going to be late models racing that weekend. I know Dale Jr. is going to be racing the late models, likely other Cup drivers or former Cup drivers. The Truck Series is going to race there. Oh, then we get the Cup guys.
We get to bet on it. That's the glorious part of it all. There's going to be odds to bet on it. So
exactly.
Love that for the sport.
Yes.
All right. Enough. I spent an hour like loving Kevin Harvick on the in between media. Let's move on to some other stuff. What else you got for us, Cody?
Yeah. So the other things, just real quickly. Speaking of Dale Jr., he made some comments today on the Dale Jr. download, and he disagrees very vehemently with NASCAR and their rulings this week on these suspends. Obviously, the Denny Hamlin one, he's got a little skin in that game, right? And he used to race for Hendrick and has a great relationship. He's a partner. I mean, Rick Hendrick is co-owner of JRM Motorsports in the Xfinity Series. So maybe he's a little skewed, but Dale Jr. is usually pretty honest and open, and people listen when he talks. But he made the argument, and Hendrick stated this when this happened, is that these vents, these louvers never fit properly on their cars. So they have been in constant communication with NASCAR about having to, adjust them to make them fit properly in the car. And so they say there's already a trail of communication that was there. They obviously confiscated these before qualifying, before the race. Hendrick dominated qualifying. Hendrick dominated the race. They weren't improving the performance at all. So Dale Jr. says that he thinks that this is just way too hefty of a thing. He thinks that Hendrick will win the appeal to the degree of they will lessen the penalties, right? NASCAR threw the book at him. They gave him the max of everything, basically. And so he thinks that those will get rescinded to a degree, at least, maybe changed, lowered, something like that. And then same thing with Colleague, and Colleague is saying vehemently that they did nothing wrong. They did not change these. And we talked about this yesterday on the Truck Series episode. Make sure you go back and listen to that if you want to hear the whole explanation of how the penalties work, everything. We covered all that on the beginning of the Truck Series betting episode. But yeah, so Colleague with Justin Haley, they're saying, they didn't anything. So they're also appealing, and they elected to not have their crew chiefs begin the suspension. So they have at least asked to allow their crew chief to work this weekend at Atlanta, which makes a lot of sense because it's a super speedway. This is a great opportunity for Justin Haley to get a win, especially now that he's negative 40 points in the standings. So you want to have him here. He could start serving that thing next week. Hendrick did announce their all-star lineup of replacement crew chiefs. They are not hurting over there. So I was just going to run through them real quick because this is a pretty solid list. So William Byron is going to get Brian Campy who's the technical director over at Hendrick Motorsports. So that's a fairly high up position, kind of knows what he's doing. He crew chiefed a few races back in 2009 in the Xfinity Series for that Hendrick number 5 all-star car. Dale Jr., Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, all raced on there. He actually left NASCAR for a little bit, went over to Penske as an engineer over there, won a couple of championships with them, I believe, then came back to NASCAR. He's been a Hendrick ever since. So he knows what he's doing. You go over to Alex Bowman, rather. Greg Ives is coming back. Greg Ives was Alex Bowman's crew chief last season, retired at the end of the year. He's been part-time with Hendrick / JRM this year. He's co-crew chiefing the number 17 Xfinity car that Hendrick is running in a few select races. So he's still in the mix. He just did it last season. So just coming out of retirement for a couple races. Him and Bowman have worked together before. He's worked with Jeff Gordon. He's worked with Dale Jr. So he's been around, knows what he's doing. Again, they're not going to miss much there. For Kyle Larson, it's Kevin Mendering. He's the competition development director for Hendrick Motorsports. He was the Jimmy Johnson crew chief for the first half of the 2019 season after Chad Knaus moved on from Johnson. He is the other co-crew chief on the 17 with Ives on the 17 Xfinity car. He was also an Xfinity crew chief for JR Motorsports from 2016 to 2018, so plenty of experience. For Josh Berry / Jordan Taylor / if Chase Elliott comes back in the next 4 races, it is Tom Gray. He's the lead engineer on the 9 car. He's been with that team for a long time, all the way back to when it was a 24 car with Jeff Gordon. So it just makes sense to just basically you're putting in the assistant coach, right? He's elevated to the head coach. And that's big for this team because not only are they missing their crew chief now, they're also already missing their driver. So, you're kind of already digging in the replacements. You don't necessarily want to bring somebody from even outside the team. I think they made the right decision there with Gray, and they said, hey, this guy's good enough. Let's just elevate him up. Bring up the guy that's in the locker room with you guys every day anyways. So obviously all smart moves by Hendrick Motorsports. What a surprise. But again, guys that a lot of teams would take as their everyday crew chief. So they won't be missing a ton of beats over there, I don't think.
So you tell the most powerful and most talented team in the entire sport, like, hey, we're taking away your top guys. And they're like, cool. All right, let's see what we got in the meat locker over here. Oh, yeah, all these amazing guys that have been in there the whole time. Oh, darn, that's going to suck for us for 4 races to put like all these big names back in the game. Like, it's not, I mean, it's like, Wells Fargo Bank, they get fined like $4 billion. And you're like, oh my God, $4 billion. And they're like, oh, here you go, $4 billion. Okay, let's keep doing business. Like, it doesn't even phase them, and it's just like, oh, okay, I guess, some of these things are just so big and so powerful that nothing phases them. And Hendrick Motorsports is that of the NASCAR series. Like billionaires trying to buy social media things for billions of dollars. And they're like, okay, maybe I'll buy this new toy. That's like me, I agonize over, $100 here and $100 there. Like, and yet these guys are like, We'll get over this. It'll be fine.
Yep. Drop $100. That's not even worth bending over to pick it up.
No, not even. They're like, what? That's my change drawer. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
No, but see, listen, and from a betting aspect, again, this is why nothing is going to really impact. And I don't even think it factors in to a betting angle on these cars. So if we're talking, if you hear people out there that are saying, well, I don't know, because they'll be without their crew chief, don't even let that bother you, because they're not any worse for the wear. And just like Cody said too, a couple episodes ago, these guys, their crew chiefs are not going to be completely out of the loop. They'll be a text message away from like, hey, this is what I'm seeing on the broadcast, or this is what they just brought up on the broadcast. This is something you might want to take into consideration. And maybe
and I think it's more than a text message. I think they're wired in these guys' ears. And yeah, we talked about that last show on the Truck Series as well, where this is actually maybe even a good thing for these guys, because you're going to have those 4 great minds at crew chief sitting in the same room together in the control room. They can see everything. They've got all the data there. They've got it all in front of them. Going to be able to sit there, talk to each other, make decisions together. That might be even more dangerous than having them on their own separate pit boxes like we talked about. So yeah, this affects betting on Hendrick in absolutely 0 ways. There's no bad bet on Hendrick other than if you're taking Kyle Larson this weekend, because don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, you thought they were cheating before. I mean, come on, man. You're giving them a competitive advantage in this. So
Yeah,
maybe
they
we
might
should
try and get another suspension later on just to do it again.
They're like, where are those Louviers over? Where are they at? Bring them over. We want to start stacking them in there or take them out. I don't care, whichever one. All right. Anything else you got there, Cody?
I think that's it. That's the news for today. I'm ready to get. I got a nice big card again. I juiced it up a little. Man, I have so much fun on these super speedways, Rod. I can't help it but cram in every bet possible.
So what we just say on super speedways is take the book and say yes. Like literally just yes.
Yeah.
Like,
especially the big odds stuff, man. Just toss those darts. You're gonna hit some. It's gonna be nice when it hits.
Yeah, the bigger the better, too, at that point. Work on your dart analogy though, because we got to get that
I need to consult a dart expert. I have a couple of buddies that are dart guys. I need to check in with them.
Okay, do that. We'll step away from a break and then we'll come back and maybe you'll have your dart analogy down. But let's tell you about WynnBet. WynnBet's the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. WynnBet is now active in Massachusetts and a ton of other states. Be on the lookout for the WynnBet Win Hour each Thursday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. During WynnBet Win Hour, marquee games of the week will have better odds on WynnBet, giving you a larger payout opportunity. March Madness is here. So many ways to bet on the big dance. Sign up today. You're going to get a special offer. Bet $100. Get $100, limited to state availability. And of course, for you DGens only out there, if you hit the biggest long shot parlay of the week, you're going to get a $1,000 free credit. How you like that? So much to choose from. All you got to do, head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com, head over to WynnBet.com too, or download the WynnBet app. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at WynnBet.com. Must be 21 or older. Present this area. Play through WynnBet is available. If you or somebody who has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right, Cody, we are on the Atlanta Motor Super Speedway where the 28-degree banking in the corners meets the 5-degree banking in the straightaways. We are set for 260 laps around this 1.5-mile paved track for 400.400 miles of this race. Talking about what happened last year here in the fall at the Quaker State 400, it was Chase Elliott in that 9 car. Beating Ross Chastain. Elliott led 96 of the 260 laps. There were 13 cautions in the fall for 64 laps. This was finished under caution. Average speed, I know we talk about it being a super speedway, but mind you, it is still only 1.5 miles. Average speed in this race was 118.745. 4,661 green flag passes in the fall. In the Folds of Honor Quick Trick 500 in the spring, we did 325 laps around this 1.5 mile paved track for 500.500 miles. It was William Byron edging out, guess who? Ross Chastain once again for the win. William Byron led 111 laps in this race. There were 11 cautions for 65 laps. Margin of victory between Byron and Chastain, 1.45 seconds, 6,439 green flag laps, or passes rather.
That's a lot of laps.
A lot of laps. And they're still going. And 46 total lead changes in this race. A lot of action. We're expecting 100 miles shorter, though, than the spring race of last year. So, again, we're kind of keeping that in mind as well.
Yep. Yeah, they did shorten it down to the 400 miles, which is what we saw in the fall. And I think that's a fine amount. It ramps up the intensity sooner anyways.
It sure does. Makes those stages a lot more intense.
Yeah, and if you haven't been listening all week with the other previews, we have the Xfinity preview out there, the truck preview. Make sure you go listen to those, but treat this race as a super speedway. This track is kind of its own beast, right? It's an intermediate. It's only 1.5 miles, but it's got the super speedway qualities, the drafting, the side-by-side racing that we're going to see. Everybody's going to have a chance to win. Anybody can win. There's going to be big wrecks, going to be chaos. So we're leaning I lean completely on Daytona, Talladega stats, and we can look back at last year's Atlanta stats. Again, last year, the first time they ran it on this new configuration. So I'm not going to go back any farther than that, but yeah, that's the plan.
That is the plan. All right, well, let's get to some bets, shall we, Cody? Lead off your the smorgasbord of bets that you've got for us this weekend.
The first one, nice and easy. #fade Kyle Larson. I know it sounds funny. It really does, but dude sucks on super speedways. Facts are facts. I don't know what else to tell you. So Kyle Busch, rather, over Kyle Larson, the battle of the Kyles. Kyle Busch over Kyle Larson, -105. So you're not even paying up for it at all. The books just continue to give us Larson head-to-heads every time we come to super speedways. Some of these books have him as the favorite to win this race. It's like they've never watched a super speedway race before, but that's okay. When we go to super speedways, fading Kyle Larson is on my card every single time. There's a couple other matchups out there that I saw. Ross Chastain over Kyle Busch, I would take that. There was another one. If BJ McLeod's matched up against him, I don't care. Just bet anybody against Kyle Larson is my thing. And here's why. Let me read off his super speedway finishes. The pass from Daytona and Talladega combined, 18th in the 500. And yes, some people are going to make the argument, well, he was running good the whole race. He was up there. He showed a lot of improvement, but the result was the same as it is every other time. He has flashes. The first stage, maybe stage and a half, you're going to be like, fuck, this guy was totally wrong. Like, Larson looks fine. He's up front all day. It rarely ends that. He can't seem to avoid it at the end. And some guys have the knack for avoiding it all and being there. Guys like Cory Lajoie, and Larson just doesn't have that. One of the best drivers in the world, can get in anything and do good anywhere except for super speedways. So you go back 18th in the 500, 18th before that, 37th, had a 4th place finish at Talladega last year. That's when we thought maybe he's figured it out, but not so much. Before that, 32nd, 37th, 20th, 40th. You go over to Kyle Busch's odds, and he was leading at the end of regulation in Daytona. He ended up with a 20th place finish, so it didn't work out for him in the end either. But you go back through 5 of these last 8 races, he's beat Larson head-to-head. You go back through these guys' times at Daytona and Talladega. Kyle Busch, 15 top 5 finishes between the two tracks, a couple of wins, one on each, one Daytona, one at Talladega. Kyle Larson, how many top 5s do you think he has since he came into the series in 2014 between Daytona and Talladega, Rod?
I'm going to go ahead and hold up one finger. Is that one too many?
Ding, ding, ding. You have, I just told you he finished 4th last year at Talladega. So that is the one. That is his only top 5 on a super speedway. And neither of these guys did great last season on Atlanta. But again, Kyle Busch last season, things were different. He didn't have the equipment. This was when things were really getting heated up with, oh shit, maybe I'm not coming back to Gibbs. So I'm just going to throw that out. But Larson's finishes, I think he finished 13th in the fall race. So that was an okay finish. That was a less chaotic one. There wasn't quite the wrecks in that one that we've seen in a lot of the other super speedway stuff. But he was, I think, 30th in the first race. So again, a bad result at a super speedway from Kyle Larson. The numbers aren't there. He can sneak up. He can grab the 4th place finish. He did it last year at Talladega. But since 2014, we're going to Daytona and Talladega twice a year throughout the season, throughout every season. And he's not got the results. I don't expect that to change. And again, you don't need Kyle Busch to do great. He just has to beat Kyle Larson.
So for me, when I look at that, and I saw the book too that you were talking about, that Kyle Larson is the favorite to win, and I thought to myself, well, okay, but look, these books really want you to bet on name recognition. This is aimed for the folks that only know NASCAR because they hear it and they say, hey, I think I want to bet on it, but they don't do the research. They don't listen to these shows. They don't do anything other than say, oh yeah, I know Kyle Larson, or they're just casual bettors that will go bet the favorites to win a race. And they see 10-1 and they think, oh man, this is good odds for a guy to win a race, right?
Well, any other week we'd be like, Kyle Larson 10-1, like, get on it. But that's I think they're trying not to price it down too much because they don't want to scare you and be like, well, why isn't he priced up this week? Just Joe Q Public gets on and, ooh, Kyle Larson 10-1, I'll take it. And it's not there. The results aren't there. He's not. That Talladega race was the one chance he's had to maybe win. He was kind of in it there at the end. But man, other than that, he's so bad at surviving. And like I said, you're going to see him up there and you're going to be like, man, he looks like he knows what he's doing here. And it just always ends badly for him. And I don't know why. He's, again, one of the greatest drivers of this generation. You can put him in anything and just, say go. You put him in Fred Flintstone's car, he'd probably beat everybody else. Like, he's just that good, but not at the super speedways. He can't. And he's admittedly said he doesn't like them and he can't figure them out. So I'm going to go take his word for that. And the stats back it up.
I said in the In-Between Media show, I said on the back road, I said, there's things that I know that I'm not good at and I stay away from too. So
exactly.
I don't fault them at all. All right. Well, I'm going to stay in the Hendrick Motorsports camp and I'm going to give you any one of the Hendrick Motorsports car to land on the pole for this race. Plus 650 is the odds for all of them. In fact, Larson, Bowman, Byron, and Barry all, I think Barry's at 650. I think
I'd be kind of surprised if Barry was that low, but
actually maybe he's not. But I do know that the three that you really are considering to be on the pole are all at 650. I forgot to put. Maybe I just forgot about Barry. But yeah, in my
he's only at he's at plus 10 to 1,000.
Yeah. Okay, that's not too bad, anyways. But listen, so we've talked in depth, especially in super speedways, how Hendrick is good at qualifying. Obviously, we know their Daytona success, where you've got to go back all the way to like 2014, 2015 was the last time that a Hendrick engine at all was not on the pole at the Daytona 500. Because we still count Ricky Stenhouse as being a Hendrick motor at that point. So these guys, they build their engines and they build their cars to be fast. And listen, all of that success for qualifying notwithstanding, you want to pick a week where Hendrick Motorsports is going to be out to show the world that they're about to give the big middle finger to everybody. It's this week. You've pissed off. We talked about a pissed off Kyle Busch, how dangerous they are. You've pissed off an entire garage now, and you've taken a lot of money out of their pocket. They got to earn that back. They're not going to earn that back by being slow. They're going to come out and be fast. They're going to take those Louviers and shove them straight up NASCAR's ass and try to go out there and show right from the green flag of qualifying that they mean business. So I could see, especially with how fast these cars have run, 1, 2, 3 a couple of weeks ago, top cars until the final chaotic. And then, of course, Byron comes out with the win. Larson was leading a ton of laps. There's no lack of speed in this camp. They know how to qualify. They know how to qualify well. Chase Elliott was on the pole last fall here, or was it last spring? I have to look at which race it was. It was last
probably the fall, because he dominated that race. Yeah,
it was last summer where he started on the pole, and Kyle Larson started in third. So both of those guys were able to sniff the front 2 rows. I'm telling you right now, at 650 plus 650 for a pole odd, I love that this week. It's so much better than the ones we've been getting before. So I'd sprinkle some on all 3 just to cover your bases.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm going to do. The 3 Hendrick guys, Josh Berry, I'm just going to leave him out. I'm going to take Larson. I'm going to take Byron. I'm going to take Bowman, each at plus 650. This is where you don't have to fade Larson. He's fine. He's great here, great at qualifying on these big tracks. But you look at it, right, in Daytona, yes, they're always good at qualifying. They're fast. But then you come here to Atlanta. You had Elliott on the pole last season. Hendrick won both of these races with 2 different cars at this track. Chevy has won 7. We're at 6 of the 7. How many super speedway races have we had in this next gen car? 6 last season, 2 this, or 1 this season. So 7.
So 7.
Yeah. So 6 of the 7 Chevy has won. You look in the garage and you go, okay, well, who has the best cars? Who has the most raw power? You're going to point straight to Hendrick, right? So everything points to the Hendrick cars. They're good at qualifying. They know how to do it. The setups are going to be fine. You're not worried about the crew chief, none of that stuff. So bet all 3 of them. Love this bet, Rod. I'm kind of sad that you put this in here and not me.
Hey, sometimes, man, I can stumble on a good one.
Okay, next up for me, I'm going to go over to the Toyota camp. I'm going to take Bubba Wallace to be the top Toyota, plus 450. Also going to take him for a top 10 at plus 140. Bubba Wallace is one of the best super speedway racers in the garage. It's not even up for debate. He is very good at it. We've talked about this before. These manufacturer bets are so much fun on the super speedways because anybody can do them. There's a lot of Chevys in the field. There's a lot of Fords in the field. So it's still fun to bet those, but it's a little harder. You come over to the Toyota camp, there's only 6 Toyotas, Rod. That's it. So to be the top Toyota, you only have to beat 5 other guys. You could finish in 30th and still be the top Toyota if everything falls correctly. So that's already a huge advantage where you only have to beat 5 other guys to cash this bet and 4 times your money. You look at who those guys are. Denny Hamlin, he's obviously a great super speedway racer. So, he's one of the top on there, and that's why he's going to be the favorite in this group. But then you've got Martin Truex Jr. He's fairly close to Kyle Larson in the doesn't do good at super speedway. Again, you'll see him leading. He'll win stages at super speedways all the time. And I'm always like, man, he's going to, and then it never pans out for him again, and so you got him, you got Ty Gibbs. That doesn't excite me. He could survive the chaos, sure, but not exciting. Tyler Reddick, he's up and down on super speedways. Sometimes he looks great. Sometimes he doesn't. He's kind of struggled this season. So, who knows what you got going there. And then Christopher Bell, again, he's kind of up and down on super speedways as well. But Bubba Wallace consistently up front. You go back and look in the last 12 starts at Daytona for Bubba Wallace, he's never finished worse than 20th in those 12 starts. Yoda's last start at Daytona, or at Talladega rather, and he hasn't finished worse than 19th in the 2 races here last season, 13th and 14th respectively. So that goes to show you. So in his last, I'm not going to do all that math in my head right now, but in a lot of super speedways in a row where he's finished running at the end, again, that's 3/4 of the battle right there. If you can survive the chaos, be there at the end, he is just really, really good at these super speedway things. He's got the win at Talladega. Again, it was a rain-shortened race, but they were racing against the rain. That was no different than racing to the checkered flag. He earned that one, and he is good at this. He's been second in the Daytona 500 multiple times. He knows how to race at these super speedways. So plus money on the top 10, man, that's crazy almost to think. I know he didn't get it either of the races here last season, but again, if you're 13th or 14th, that's not, that's half a second and you're up into 10th that quickly on these super speedways. So I like that at plus 150. And then to be the top Toyota, again, only having to beat 5 other drivers for that, plus 450, I like as well.
Yeah, Bubba Wallace is being slept on, and obviously for decent enough reason, right? I mean, obviously, and did I say it on this show? I believe I said it on this show, where, when you talk about, I know I'm committing podultry all over the place on you. I don't even know where I'm like, did I leave my coat there? Listen, the reason that we talk about most of the names that we talk about, and especially the ones that are on the broadcast, is because if they're talked about on the broadcast, chances are it's because they're running up front and because they're in contention to do something. They don't necessarily talk about the middle of the pack guys very often, and especially the lap cars, right? Those are the ones that just, the only time you ever hear them being called is when they're getting passed by the leader. So, there's a reason that some of these names float to the surface, and Bubba Wallace is one of those names that floats to the surface for weeks on like super speedway weeks or weeks on tracks where he's good, and then just sort of falls back in the middle of the pack and doesn't necessarily get the recognition that I think he deserves most of the time.
And I think that's going to change as the season goes on. He's been really fast to start the season. The results just haven't been there. It's been flashes where he's up there and then he just kind of fades back. And like you said, then he falls out and you don't really hear much from him, but he's shown a lot of speed if he can put the results there or the finishes there. And then with you add that to his super speedway capabilities. And I love betting on him this week.
Yeah, I think, and plus I think his prices are right. Plus 450, plus 150. I think that's good to do. All right, I'm going to work a Harvick bet in there. Surprise. But this is your weekly reminder to bet Harvick as a top 10. There is a book out there that has Harvick as a top 10 at plus 150. Go hammer that. Plus money, Harvick for a top 10 finish. I don't care if the books are trying to lose money to you, but that's what you're going to have to end up doing. Bet that.
Should we just put this as like the show introduction? Like from now on, like welcome to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Go bet Kevin Harvick top 10. Okay, and on to the show. Like it should just be part of the intro at this point.
What we'll do is we'll just run down the Harvick odds right at the top and just be like, all right, Harvick top 10 odd today And it's like a ticker. That's what we'll do. In fact,
Exactly.
we'll put it on the ticker.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter what his odds are anywhere. You just bet on them.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm also going to find another couple angles here as well. Harvick over Suarez is what I'm going to give out. -110 in this head-to-head. Here's the thing, right? They flip-flop finishes last season. Daniel Suarez actually did finish ahead of Kevin Harvick in the fall 400 race here. Suarez actually came in 6th place. Harvick was all the way in 12th place. He did not have a top 10 finish here. One of the rare times that happens. But in the spring race, in the 500 version, Kevin Harvick had, let's see, actually, never mind. Daniel Suarez did finish here both times. I had the starting position. Rod, clicked the wrong button. Yeah, Daniel Suarez did beat him both times on this track. But I still don't think that's about to happen in this, because this season so far, actually Kevin Harvick has a better average finish than does young Daniel Suarez. Harvick's finishing position is averaging at 7.8. Daniel Suarez is 10.8. But you also got to look at their super speedway finishes here as well. Daniel Suarez did actually pretty good last year at Talladega. He got an 8th place finish. He did finish, like I talked about, 7th to start the season here at Daytona. But besides that, 24th and 22 at Daytona in the fall, 31st at Talladega in the spring of 2022, 18th place at Daytona in 2022, 23rd, 19, 23rd, 36, 34, 26. Like I would keep going, but like it's just not all that great. And most of those were in the 99 as well. Whereas Kevin Harvick, take a look back. Daytona, he finished 12th. Talladega last year, 29th place finish, 20th at Daytona. But before that, 10th at Talladega, 30th at Daytona, another bad day, 8th at Talladega, 15th at Daytona, 4th at Talladega, 4th at Daytona. Notice that I'm getting higher in these, right? Kevin Harvick, historically good on super speedways, whereas Daniel Suarez has had a couple of good races, but not substantial that I'd want to take him over Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever hear me go against a Kevin Harvick bet for the rest of the season. And then, unfortunately, God, we're going to have to find somebody else that's so consistent for us next year, Rod. But Atlanta also, I believe, was the site of his first Cup Series win in that 29, just a couple of weeks. I think it was about a month, not even a month after the passing of Dale Earnhardt. Beat Jeff Gordon in a head-to-head race, coming for it all. So throwing everything back to going back to that 29 car, releasing all that this weekend. He had one of the best car probably towards the end of the race there last week. Should have won at Phoenix. So, yeah, Kevin Harvick, he's always a good bet for a top finish. And, again, Daniel Suarez just inconsistent in his finishes. You can always trust Harvick. So I like that as well. Next up for me, this is one of those special ones that the books throw out there where they combined it together. So this is for William Byron to be the top Chevrolet and Brad Keselowski to be the top Ford. A little bit of a tall task you're looking for here, but it's at 30-1. I felt like those odds were good enough. Sometimes they throw stuff out there. It's just ridiculous. It's like Kyle Larson and Joey Logano to be in the top 5 at a super speedway at plus 150. Like, wow, you're offering me such a deal here. Like, seriously. But sometimes they're great odds. So they're going to have to beat, obviously, we talked about it, a lot of Chevys in the field, a lot of Fords in the field. So you're going to have to get them both towards the front of this race. But these are guys that can do that. I like both of them a lot this week. William Byron won this race last season. He's on a 2-race winning streak right now. He's been one of the best cars in the garage, in the field so far to start the season. So he's got the momentum on his hand. He's won at Daytona before. So everything we know he can do it, right? And that's all I'm looking for in a bet like this. Brad Keselowski. Let me read you the list of people that have won more times at Talladega than Brad Keselowski. Dale Earnhardt Sr. Do you want to know who's tied with Brad Keselowski for second place on that list? Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon. I don't know that you can be in much more elite company than those 3 names. So he is very good at super speedways. We've seen him the last couple of seasons of the Daytona 500. Brad led 42 laps this season in the Daytona 500, 67 laps last season in the Daytona 500. So he's been able to get that car up front. RFK has gotten things better and better. He won a dual race last season. in his first attempt at a super speedway, even in this new car. So Brad can get it done. He's very high risk, high reward when you're betting on him, or if you're using him in DFS. Spoiler alert, might talk about him in DFS tomorrow, but you got to be prepared, because he's one of those guys. It's wreckers or checkers for him on the super speedways. Like he'll be up there, but he's either going to wreck it or he's going to bring you home with a chance to win. So, but he can bring you home with a chance to win. So can William Byron. All you need him to do is beat the other Fords, the other Chevys. So at 30-1, I felt like the odds were good enough for me to take this special prop bet. So I like it a lot.
I love the combination of it. I mean, you did talk about Byron just being lights out. I'm a little scared of him winning this race, but again, we didn't think he was going to win last week again and get back to back. And sure enough, found himself at the right place at the right time to sneak and to back his way into a win. So back his way when he led like the most laps, but still at the end of the race, it shouldn't have been his anyways. And me, I'm a sucker for Brad Keselowski. I think better days are ahead for him, and he just needs to put it all together. And what better place than Atlanta to do it? And I think that's a very real possibility.
Yeah, and if you go look at the odds, William Byron is the top Chevrolet that's favored. He's at plus 350, and Brad is third on the Ford list at plus 500. So obviously you got to hit both of them. That makes it a lot tougher, but they're still favorited if things go as they maybe should, right? And there's not as much chaos or something like that. Chase Elliott's not in this field, one of the better super speedway racers that's going to be missing in a Chevrolet. The Ford field has been pretty weak to start the season. I know super speedways are different, and they've got some guys that can do it. Logano's very good. Blaney's very good, but they've both struggled a lot this season. Obviously, you got Kevin Harvick in there. And then there's some other guys down the list, but not really anybody else that super much scares you. The Chevy side is the tall task, because you do have Kyle Busch, you do have Ross Chastain, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. just won the 500. You got Austin Dillon, you got Eric Jones, AJ Allmendinger, Cory Lajoie. He's plus 2,200 for the top Chevy, by the way. Justin Haley, even. I mean, there's plenty of guys in the Chevy camp that could beat him, but with him being the favorite, and then for Brad being the third favorite in their respective manufacturers, I feel like putting them together at 30-1 is a good deal.
Yeah, it's not anything. I mean, if you hit it too, that's going to be a very good day for you as well. It doesn't matter what you did in the rest of the bets. If you hit this one, you're having steak for dinner.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, you talked about Chastain. I love when books choose to pay attention, right? I mean, this is one where I feel like they're paying attention to what's going on. They have pitted Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin in a matchup. And here's the thing. I'm taking the Chastain side of this at minus 110. We talked about where Chastain finished in both Atlanta races last year, runner-up. So we know that he's fast around this. We know that he's been good and fast at super speedway races. He's always a car that's around the front. But this is one where I think you can take those numbers and be good with it, but you can also take what's going on and read the room. I mean, look, maybe this feud is done. Maybe there's no more between Chastain and Hamlin, and they're going to go peacefully. But you remember that last fall, this race had an incident with, last summer, had one of the incidents with that 1 in the 11 car where Chastain and him got together. Chastain goes on to finish second. Hamlin did everything in his power, short of actually running him off the track, which he tried to do, but Chastain outlasted him and ended up finishing in second place in that race. The spring race from this, the 500 mile, Chastain was actually involved in his own little spin out and still managed to climb his way back up to second place. I'm not saying that I think there's going to be another incident on this track between the two, but I think if everything's equal and if Hamlin does not let go of the wheel and go with God for a second week in a row, I think Chastain does have the car that could be faster than him in the end. And again, Chastain doesn't have to finish second to make this happen. He could just finish fifth and have Hamlin finish sixth, and this still cashes. So I'm comfortable with taking Chastain over Hamlin, even with all of the craziness that's been going on with Hamlin recently.
Yeah, and something too that Denny Hamlin has not shown to be great under pressure. And there is a lot of pressure now, right? All the news stories are about, all the fines, but a lot of the stuff is about him. It's about Chastain. It's about this whole thing. And, from listening to Dale Jr. today, he sounds like Denny's like fuming over this fine that he got. And Jr. doesn't agree with that fine either, but no surprise there. He's on his podcast basically. But yeah, I mean, also all this attention's on there. How many times have we seen Denny Hamlin make the Final Four, not win the championship, despite being one of the best cars all season? Under pressure, he doesn't perform as well. You see it when he has a problem early in a race. It's almost like Denny Hamlin just gives up. So, like, if anything doesn't go his way, you can literally just watch him throw in the towel and suck the rest of the day. And that's something that's continued to happen over the years. So, that extra pressure, he might be a little bit up on the steering wheel a little harder, more prone to make a mistake or anything like that. Chastain's proven to be a very good super speedway racer. You talked about the results here at Atlanta last season. He won the race at Talladega. So he's been very good at these as well. So I don't hate it. I mean, Denny is one of the best super speedway racers in the field. So I will say that. But with the current state of things and potentially where Denny's head might be at, I'm going to maybe trust Ross. And I don't think it's any skin off Ross's back. I don't think that this bothers him one bit. And it seems like the way that he's kind of come up through things, he's had to get the tough skin. He's taken his lumps and he's done it the hard way. I mean, he drove around in the series in total shit equipment for years and years before getting to a point where he is, one of the better guys in the series at this point on one of the better teams now. And so he can take those lumps. Not saying Denny's always had it handed to him or anything like that, but he's been a Joe Gibbs since day one, and that's a pretty freaking good place to be. So I think that Ross has got that real tough skin, and I don't think it bothers him as much as maybe the mind games are there against not in Denny's favor.
Hell, and even Chastain's probably happy that he feels like this is over, because now it's probably just freed up a little bit of his mind. Not that he was dwelling on it in the first place, but when you have somebody tell you we're done, like we're even, now you can just go, right, and be on your own, especially when you weren't the guy that was carrying the grudge.
Yeah, exactly. All right, next up for me, I'm going to one of Rod's guys, AJ Allmendinger. You think of AJ Allmendinger, you think of road course ringer. I think of AJ Allmendinger. I think super speedway ringer. AJ Allmendinger, extremely quietly, extremely under the radar, is a very, very good super speedway racer. His last 3 starts in NASCAR on super speedways, one was at the Daytona 500 this season, and then the previous 2 were back in 2018. But all 3 of them finished in the top 6. That during that break between 2018 to back this season, he was in the Xfinity Series. Made 7 starts at Talladega, won a race in those 7 starts, 3 top 3 finishes, 4 of them were top 7s. And then you go over to, I don't have his Daytona stuff written down, but he did really good at Daytona too. I don't know why I didn't write it down, but his
excited.
I was excited, but AJ Allmendinger has been very, very good at super speedways. Didn't race in these races last season, I don't believe. He was just running part-time with that car, mostly on the road courses and a few other smaller tracks. But AJ Allmendinger is a very good super speedway racer. His teammate, college car Justin Haley, also a very good super speedway racer. They have pushed each other to multiple wins throughout time in the Xfinity Series. All those wins Justin Haley was ripping off in a row, AJ Allmendinger was right there behind him, pushing him to him. So at plus money for AJ Allmendinger to finish in the top 10, when again his last 3 in a row over some time, yes, but have been in the top 10. And going back to the Xfinity Series, he's had a lot of success and always been up front in those. Love this. He's a guy that's very much under the radar when it comes to super speedway racing, but continues to prove every time he's in a super speedway race that he's very good at them.
Yep, made my case for him on In Between Media as well, so we are on the same page because I do love me some AJ Allmendinger. When the 84 is not on the track, the 16 is the one that's in my heart, so give me Dinger. I love it. Top 10. I'll take it, especially at plus 200. All right, I'm going to get super sneaky and probably to the point where this bet, look it, I'm giving this like a 3-star confidence rating or 3 chili pepper confidence rating, but only because it's Josh Berry as a top 5 car. I like the 6-1 angle on this one. It's a very, it seems juicy enough to just take it. We're prepping for chaos, right? And what better chaos than Josh Berry to be a top 5 car on this track. Last year in the Xfinity Series, he finished second in the fall. Again, these are Cup cars, way different, but he's in the 9 car. Hey, what car won this race in the fall last year? Oh, it was the 9 car. Where did the 9 car finish in the spring race? It was in 6th place, one position out of the 5th place finish that you need for this. I'm just saying that there's a lot of possibility for him to find some success. We saw last week he snuck his way. I don't know that anybody knew what was going on until we saw the final ticker, and there's Josh Berry in 10th place, right inside the top 10. And you're like, wow, how did that happen? There is not much that is stopping me from believing that by the end of this race, we'll be looking at the top 5, seeing that 9 car and go, wait a second, how did that 9 car get into 5th place, right? And 6-1 is a pretty good chunk to throw on that and to see if it sticks, because his odds to win, I don't think he's going to win, and top 10 odds are not sexy to me. This is like that sweet spot. If you want to throw something on a Barry Miracle and prep for chaos, this is it.
Yeah, I don't hate this. It seems weird because, it's like he's filling in this car. He's not, but he's a great driver. We've talked about that. Finished second here in the Xfinity Series race last summer. So on this track, he's got some experience. He's going to be out there Saturday, of course, in his 8 car like normal. He'll have that drafting experience, find the lines, all that fun stuff. He's got teammates, 2 of which are good on super speedways, and then there's Kyle Larson. But he's got friends out there. His goal in this car is just to keep it safe, keep it clean. Last week, finishing 10th, and you never heard about him. That's exactly what Josh Berry wants. That means he was careful all day. He didn't get in trouble. He took care of his equipment. He was there at the end. A nice, solid finish. Got the 9 car, those owner points that got taken away, but got those points anyways. And that's all he's trying to do. He's not trying to come out and win these races or be super flashy or be in the way. And so if he can take care of it, he could easily find his way into the top 5 at the end of the day. Obviously, we know that's a good car. It's going to be fast, so you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. And at these odds, it's a good one. It's going out there, but I like it for what you're getting it at 6-1.
Me too.
Do you have any special music for this next one, Rod?
Oh, do you want me to? I've got special music for you. Are you ready for this one? Here we go.
I'm ready.
Oh, baby. Look at you with the extra mile. Got to watch this on YouTube, guys. You're about to see Cory Lajoie's just smiling face that Cody printed out.
He signed it and sent it to me even. Look at that. But it came with the hat. But I'm going to say he signed it for me anyways. But yes, if you're on YouTube, you can see Cory Lajoie's beautiful face, his beautiful long hair. Welcome to Cory Lajoie's Corner, my favorite part of super speedway betting. Again, I will remind you, I was on Cory Lajoie at super speedways before it was the cool thing to do. 250-1 last year, Rod. He was leading with 2 laps to go. The ultimate heartbreak as my favorite driver besides Cory Lajoie, Chase Elliott, stuffed him into the wall. Luckily, we did have Chase Elliott to win that race at 10-1, so made the pain a little less bad, but 250-1 was so close. That would have been legendary, Rod. His odds are not quite that good this season. Everybody and their brother's on him, but that's okay. I'm going to bet Cory Lajoie in a lot of ways that I can find to bet on him. If you want the top 3, it's 12-1. I don't mind that. I'm not going to put it on here officially, but top 5, 7-1, top 10 plus 225, top Chevrolet 22-1. And of course, to find his way into victory lane, it appears to be down to 50-1 at this point. But whatever you can find it at, I don't care. I don't have a limit on up or down. Just bet on Cory Lajoie at super speedways. I've already talked about this. Maybe if you were able to get futures weeks ago before it was cool, you got on it because I told you to bet on him at all the super speedways. So, but you go back 5 of his last 8 races at Daytona, he's finished in the top 16. Talladega has not been as kind to him as Daytona has. But I would say if you're comparing, if you have to pick one, Daytona or Talladega, which one's closer, it is Daytona. It's much more the same shape-ish and a little bit smaller than Talladega is. And this obviously is smaller even. But last year at Atlanta, 5th in the spring. So that would have cashed your top 5 right there at plus 700. would have cashed your top 10 at plus 225. So the fact that he finished in the top 5 last season and he's still at plus 700 to get in the top 5 this season is still crazy. That's good value. And then, like I talked about in the fall race, he was up front throughout the day. I don't have it right in front of me how many laps he led, but he led a lot of laps in that race. Him and Chase Elliott kept exchanging it. He was up front. He was battling with them, and he got squeezed into the wall there at the end. He was leading with 2 laps to go. It was so close, Rod. We were almost there. Not going to give up on my boy. He's been running really good this season too. He's consistently been in the top 20, which is like winning a race for Spire Motorsports. It's been that good. He gets it here at a track like this, smells that blood in the water. You could say they passed up off of that number 9 ride, right? We talked about that. There was so many people advocating for him, and it didn't fall into place. Whether Spire said, I don't know the details, whether they didn't even ask him, whatever it is, maybe that plays into it. He wants to win a race so bad. That is going to be the party of all parties when he finally reaches victory lane, which he is going to do. And maybe it's this weekend at 50-1. So go place all the Cory Lajoie bets you can. There is some, I saw him in a head-to-head. You guys talked about this on the back road. I did catch that against Todd Gilliland. Go bet that. Just bet any way you could possibly bet Cory Lajoie for this race. Go do it.
I'm telling you right now, the Cory Lajoie army is coming for you, books. That I want to see where that line actually closes before the race. We need to jump in that Discord because we'll keep you posted on how the public is hammering down, how you guys are hammering down that price on Lajoie. But you guys get in on it first because you listen and you are well aware of the Cory Lajoie love here.
Exactly.
All right, I'm going to give love to Tyler Reddick because let's face it, somebody needs to. I like him as a top Toyota. You just made the case for Bubba Wallace, and all of that is valid too. But I like Tyler Reddick's odds at plus 450 to be the top Toyota. This track was not kind to him last year in the 8 car. He finished 29th and 28th in that, but he was struggling so much in various parts of that. He would pop up, win, be great, and then jump back down and be bad for a bunch more races. It's not been a great start to this season for Tyler Reddick either in his new 45 car. But I will say that last week at Phoenix, sometimes all it takes is a spark to turn these guys around. And sometimes it just takes a nice, solid finish for you to say, hey, I can do this again and get the confidence. Well, the 3rd place finish that Tyler Reddick had last week at Phoenix is one of those instances where I think that might have been a good, hey, I think I'm still good at this racing thing. Let me go out and try to win a race now. And 3rd place was good enough to be the top Toyota in that race as well. So he did it last week. I feel like he's strong enough to do it again. Last year in the fall or the spring race here, rather, the 500, Kurt Busch in this very same 45 car was the top Toyota in the race. So this 45 car has gotten it done on this track. I mean, there's not much to tell me that Tyler Reddick can't find his groove and finish ahead of Bubba, Denny, Ty Gibbs. Obviously, we talked about that. Doesn't scare you at all. So Martin Truex, Christopher Bell. Like, I think Tyler Reddick has it in him. This is the week he's got to prove it, though. And I like plus 450 for him to get that done.
Yeah, I like this. And you can take Reddick and you can take Bubba, and then you only need them to beat the other 4 Toyotas. And so you're getting that's fairly good chance that you're going to hit that. So yeah, I like it.
Beautiful. All right. Well, we have gone through our props and our head-to-heads. All that's left next is to tell you who we think is going to win this race. Spoiler alert, Cody already delivered one to you as well, but he's still filling it out as we're going.
In my defense, I had those written down on my beautiful pen and paper over here, and I just forgot to enter them on the document.
Says that, and yet I'm going to come back from the commercial break, and there's still going to be a whole essay left. It's double ruled paper, and Cody's got it all back to back. So, all right, we're going to come back from the break. We'll set up our winners. But let's tell you about Underdog Fantasy, because we're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is heating up for March Madness, and College Pick'em is a great way to get in on the action, especially if your bracket is already busted after the first day. Plus, Underdog Fantasy has your favorite college basketball player props. Head over to underdogfantasy.com and use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN. If you see this, you know what I'm doing, and you're watching on YouTube, and we thank you for that. We want you to continue to keep watching on YouTube because Cory Lajoie may make an appearance and you wouldn't know because we wouldn't be able to tell you. So do that. Do the things that keep us on YouTube as well. Subscribe, like. We see you when you like, and we love it when you like. And, of course, hit the bell so you know when we go live because we've done that already, and we're going to do it some more. And if you want to see Cody's hat, the only place you can do that is on YouTube. So please make sure to head over there. Find us on YouTube. Just search NASCAR Gambling Podcast. You'll see us. We will see you. Maybe not. But anyways, have some fun on YouTube with us. All right. I'm trying to find creative ways to beg. It's not really all that easy half the time. So
I like it, Rod. You're doing a great job. Just love us, okay?
Thank you. Yeah, just love us. Just that's our call to action. All right, Cody.
All right.
It's on you, bud.
I will take the wheel from here. Again, super speedway betting. It's like first touchdowns. You split it up however you want to do it, 4 ways, 5 ways if you toss in the Cory Lajoie part. But here we go. Kyle Busch, 12-1. Almost hit him at Daytona. He was good. He was leading at the end of regulation. Looked good. Looked fast. Already talked about him earlier. He's got wins at Talladega. He's got wins at Daytona. He's got the 15 top 5s between the two of them. Knows how to be there at the end. And we've seen him be fast. Austin Dillon, his teammate, a very good super speedway racer. There is zero doubt in my mind if Austin Dillon is behind Kyle Busch, he is completely fine with just pushing Kyle Busch to a win and doesn't care about beating him. He loves Kyle Busch being over there. He loves being a part of making that happen, being part of that ownership role. So love Kyle Busch at not even the top of the board. Every book is a little different. They've all kind of got different favorites here and there, but shop around because you can find Kyle at 12-1. Next up for me, Brad Keselowski, another guy I've already made the case for. Boom or bust, right? It's checkers or wreckers for him. I'm hoping he gets the checkers. 20-1. He can get it done. We've seen him in victory lane so many times at Talladega. He knows how to do it. He's been fast. He's been good. He's been leading laps at super speedways. RFK is looking better. He's ready to get into victory lane as an owner driver. He's going to be aggressive. He's going to move people out of his way. He's going to make some calls where you're, oh, God. And then you sit back down in your seat because you're jumping out of it and you think they're going to wreck. As long as he can hold on to it, get it to the end, he can get it done. And at 20-1, I like that. Next up for me, Bubba Wallace. Again, we talked about him. I think this is completely disrespectful to have him at 22-1. He should not be this far down on the board. He should be in the 12 to 15 range. So thank you for the gift. We will take it and we will win with it. I've already made the case for him. He's one of the best super speedway racers out there right now. He's proven he can get it done. He's got multiple wins in the Cup Series. He could do it again. And my sleeper pick, my new Cory Lajoie maybe for super speedways, AJ Allmendinger always finds a way to be there at the end. He struggled to get to victory lane a little bit when he gets there, but he's gotten to the end and he has done it. He did win at Talladega last season in the Xfinity Series, so he knows how to do it. AJ Allmendinger, 50-1 is going to round out the card. I feel this is a solid lineup. I like it, Rob.
Yeah, I love it too. Like I said, you never have to convince me of an AJ Allmendinger. I don't know what my soft spot for Brad Keselowski came from. I don't know where it came from, but I have one. And then, of course, pissed off Kyle Busch. Even more pissed off by the fact that finishes have not been where he wants them to be this season.
Yeah, he started off with the first, the Coliseum, and then Daytona where he was good at the end, and then winning at Auto Club, and then it's kind of gone downhill the last 2 weeks. So looking to regroup and get back on top.
He is indeed. All right. Since Cody gave you pretty much the rest of the field, I will give you my pick, and that's Ross Chastain to win. We talked about him earlier as far as driving better than Denny Hamlin, but I think he's got a very good shot to win, and I like the 12-1 angle on this one. It's right in the middle of the favorites pack. It's not too short, but it's not like juicy like an 18 or 19. I think he's priced right. Obviously, we talked about it. He finished second place here in both races of this, but he also led laps. And see, the thing is you can finish second and not be necessarily one of the faster cars on the track, but he was a fast car. He led 32 laps in the summer, which was the third most, and then 42 laps in the spring. William Byron basically checked out, led 111 laps in this, but it was Ross Chastain who led 42 laps in this race that basically gave Byron, I don't want to say a run for his money because it wasn't necessarily anybody gave him a run for his money. But Chastain had some pretty dominant stretches into that race as well. So again, it's not as if Ross Chastain has been doing poorly to begin the season, but we haven't seen that same Watermelon Man excitement that we ended that video game move with. And for a guy like Ross Chastain, like I said, with a guy like Tyler Reddick, sometimes it just takes a spark. Sometimes it just takes that first really good finish for you to pull it all together. And Ross Chastain has the capability to light it up no matter what track he's on. You know, obviously we talked about his super speedway prowess earlier as well. So, you know, maybe he puts it all together this week. Of course, again, not that Denny Hamlin's feud was a looming cloud over his head. I'm pretty sure he never thought about that most often unless he got around the 11 car, at which point probably, you know, in his head a little bit. If you see the 11 car, I mean, shoot, I see a car that I deal with every morning, right? That I know is a jerk driver, and I'm already prepared in my mind for the fact that this guy is going to be a jerk driver and I've got to deal with it. And that's just me taking my kids to school every morning. I can only imagine on a track where you're seeing this guy every single week, you know, our nerves are getting a little bit and your steering wheel's tightening up. Hopefully that's gone. Frees Ross Chastain's mind and he can go out and drive a nice clean race and bring it home for us at 12-1.
I like it. No argument from me here. We already touched on it earlier in the head-to-head as well. He's got the track record on super speedways. He's proven he can do it specifically here at Atlanta last season. So no argument from me. I mean, Ross, he's proven he can do just about anything.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of people I feel like who are actually on him because he has had a quiet start to the season, right? I mean, it's front of mind, and there's a term in the advertising world where front of mind, where you want to constantly beat people over the head with something so that every time they think of something, they think of you.
Like every time you think of NASCAR, you think of, you need to try it first.
Oh, God.
Talk about beating it over your head. Jeez.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's Ross Chastain this year has not been the you need to try it first. So, yeah, definitely once he does start hitting, you'll be talking about him. But I think this is a good place for him to get that momentum back and to cross the finish line.
Yeah, I like it when we find guys, too, that not everybody's on. Like, it pains me that everybody's on Cory Lajoie because, you know, it's like
you did your job. You introduced the world to Cory Lajoie.
I know, but
this is all you. If you weren't, you let the cat out of the bag, and now everybody's on Cory Lajoie.
I guess so. I'll take credit for it.
You led the hype train, and now you're reaping the benefits of it.
Hopefully, he cashes this weekend, and everybody can be happy.
Yep, I think so. I mean, if it wasn't for your Daytona hype train, I don't know that anybody would know Cory Lajoie. So, yeah. All right, let's wrap up with the bets. So get your pen and paper out. I will recap them, and we will send you on your way to go annihilate your book. Cody started things off with Kyle Busch over Kyle Larson in about the lock of locks this week at -105. You're not even getting juiced for it. That's the glorious part. Beautiful stuff. I followed it up with one of any of the four Hendrick Motorsports drivers on the poll, but the three specific ones in William Byron, obviously Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson, all sitting right now at +650. If you really want to get froggy and try Josh Berry, Cody said he found him at 10-1. So if you wanted to put just like a smidge on all four, whatever, go ahead and do it. But concentrate more on the three of those four that we think are going to do it. Cody's giving you Bubba as the top Toyota at +450 and also throwing in a top 10 finish for Wallace at +150. I'm saying Kevin Harvick will finish better than Daniel Suarez and giving you -110 for that. Plus your weekly plug. Harvick is a top 10 car, Books are still giving you plus money for it. Someone's giving you plus 150 for it. Go find that one and destroy them and load up on that. Cody's giving you William Byron as the top Chevy and Brad Keselowski as the top Ford combined in one of those special bets. 30-1 for this one. That would be the fun one to hit if that one does. Love that. I'm giving you Ross Chastain now that the feud's over. He can see clearly now the feud is gone at minus 110 over Denny Hamlin. And then Cody is giving you AJ Allmendinger, my buddy, at a top 10 car at plus 200. I'm saying get crazy. Take Josh Berry as a top 5 car at 6-1. What the hell, right? It is Atlanta. You only live once. Try it. And then, of course, Cody. I mean, if there's a Cory Lajoie bet that's not on here, go find it and bet it. But there's top 5 for sure at 7-1, top 10 at plus 225, top Chevy at 22-1, and he's 50-1 to win. Much to Cody's chagrin, he wants that number way higher. But unfortunately, Cory's shown us that he's a good driver. Books are paying attention. Now you pay attention.
Hey, that shows you that we've been on the right track the whole time, that the odds keep coming down.
Right? Thank you very much. I said Tyler Reddick will be a top Toyota at plus 450. And then Cody gave you Kyle Busch at 12-1 to win, Brad Keselowski at 20-1 to win, and Bubba at 22-1 to win, and then AJ at 50-1 to win, much like his buddy Cory Lajoie. Our buddies are both 50-1 to win. I love that. And then I gave you Ross Chastain at 12-1 to win. Go forth, my friends, and have some fun betting. That's a pretty full card.
It is a full card. Let's go make some money, Rod. Again, super speedways, unpredictable, but so much fun to bet on. You're going to be sweating bets throughout the entire race, watching the whole field. Gotta love it.
This show, unpredictable, but so much fun to listen to.
Bingo. You got it.
I love it. All right. Well, Cody, let's wrap things up. Like I said, send everybody on their way to go start betting. And then, of course, to go back through and listen to some of the episodes that they may have missed and get ready for the DFS episode tomorrow. But before we do, let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Yep, absolutely. Find me on Twitter at Husker_Zeeb. Make sure you're following us on Twitter, the show at NASCAR Gambling. Check out the F1 Gambling Podcast. We'll have an episode out for Saudi Arabia on Friday. Got some good stuff cooked up over there for hopefully a good weekend. So yeah, follow us everywhere. Get in the Discord, chat it up with us over there. Yep,
definitely make sure to go onto YouTube if you haven't already. And if you are watching, like we said, hi, thank you very much. Smash that subscribe button, click that bell, hit the thumbs up, just do stuff that needs to be done as my finger slips on that. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. There's a link in the bio to everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's Sportsbook Review, whether it is In Between Media. The back row just dropped. Check it out on YouTube when you're done watching here. Thanks for listening. We'll be back again with DFS tomorrow. Just so much fun to be had, man. It's Atlanta.
Congratulations to Cory Lajoie on the win this weekend.
Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.